Welcome to Hannity. And tonight, trouble in paradise. A socialist utopia is not apparently coming to Wisconsin fully. Now, the polls were laughably inaccurate, which this is a massive problem for you, the American people. Oh, you think your candidate's up 20 points, down 20 points? What's the point of voting? Polls cannot be off by that much. Also tonight, Hasan Piker throwing a huge little temper tantrum, which is not surprising from a spoiled rich kid who role plays as a communist. Also tonight, the legacy media mob loves to play the victim, but new details about the president's efforts to make sure they're safe amid serious threats from Iran should be eye-opening even to his worst critics. Also, stay tuned. Border czar Tom Homan has a message for the communist mayor of New York City and hopefully others. But we do begin tonight in Wisconsin, where Thanksgiving has been saved, at least for now. A holiday-hating DSA lunatic named Francesca Hong narrowly lost the Democratic gubernatorial primary, despite recent polls showing her days before the election up by more than 20 points. How can you be that wrong? How can so many pollsters be that wrong? Now, the same thing nearly happened in Michigan, where radical Abdul El-Sayed enjoyed a double-digit lead in recent polls, 6 of them, as a matter of fact, before barely winning the primary by a point. Not only embarrassing for polling companies, but it may well have impacted turnout. My prediction, by the way, based on what AOC is saying, oh, that's woke 1.0. And, you see all these candidates, oh, I didn't mean what I said about Thanksgiving and defunding the police and wanting to eliminate the Department of War, et cetera, et cetera. Here's my prediction. Take note of this, because this is going to happen. The Democrats know that the radicalized DSA platform, which is in writing, they know it is not helping them electorally. They will soon, at some point, I don't know when, remove all of those radical positions that are currently on their website. They will use that's the woke one strategy. We didn't mean any of that. In other words, we'll lie and we won't let people know who we really are so we can get power. Now, their radical positions will stay the same, but they will tell voters they don't really support any of the crazy stuff which they fully support. Meanwhile, the biggest loser from these recent primary races is always Sean Piker. You might call him the spiritual leader of the Democratic Socialist movement, kind of having a meltdown now, which is fun to watch. Take a look.
The media will do everything in its power to try to discourage you. They will tell you you're a loser. They'll say, oh, DSA, your candidate was oh, Francesca Hong was bad. She was a bad candidate. Oh, she didn't like Thanksgiving. Them. And Thanksgiving, too.
I don't know. Maybe you should have a drink or something. Calm down. Anyway, at least he didn't say that America deserved 9/11 again or the streets will run red with blood of landlords. And he must be pretty happy about the Democratic Senate primary in Minnesota. There's a win for him, where an extremist named Peggy Flanagan easily secured the nomination. Now, she is the state's lieutenant governor, has been accused by members of her own party of turning a blind eye to the rampant Somali fraud in Minnesota. But while she turns a blind eye to fraud and doesn't like ICE at all, Peggy is very focused on making sure that your tax dollars go to so-called gender-affirming care, even for children. Just like her predecessor, Tampon Tim Walz, wants feminine hygiene products in boys' bathroom in grammar school. Take a look.
Minnesota law does not set a minimum age for gender-affirming care. Do you believe there should be one?
I mean, I believe that what we need to do is make sure that people have access to healthcare. Frankly, that's one of the reasons, why I've run so hard on Medicare for all and making sure that we get rid of
gender-affirming care and an age? Should there be an age limit?
I think gender-affirming care is part of healthcare. People need
Should there
access
be an age limit for it?
To healthcare. I think our law as it stands is a good law. I've supported it in the past.
Now, Peggy Flanagan tried hard to dodge the question because she knows that her position is radical, extreme, and unethical. And we have experienced that on this program, trying to get answers from DSA supporters. They don't want to answer the question. Oh, how much of every dollar should a taxpayer get to keep? If they make 100 grand a year, well, that's a hard question. No, it's not. It's a simple one. Now, her fellow Democrat in Michigan, the unlicensed medical doctor, apparently Abdul El-Sayed, is not worried about ethics. He wants you, the U.S. taxpayer, to pick up the bill for every gender reassignment surgery in America, including kids. Take a look.
Healthcare should be a choice made by a patient and their doctor. If that patient is under the age of 18, the parents as well, right? And I believe that Medicare for All should cover all healthcare.
Yeah.
Which is defined by what a patient needs in accordance with their doctor. So that includes reproductive rights, right? That includes gender-affirming care.
Now, that alone is disqualifying. Top hospitals, including the Cleveland Clinic, are banning so-called gender-affirming care for children and committing millions of dollars to kids who are harmed. Now, of course, in El-Sayed's case and his communist fantasies, the government would totally control all health care, and that's not all. He has also called for the federal government to seize the means of production over certain American tech companies. Take a look at this.
Are you in favor of public ownership models like the one Bernie introduced?
So I want to actually take it a step further.
Okay.
I agree that we need public ownership, but I also agree that we need some system of public control.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of democracy if it's not to protect us from existential risk?
All right, you can see why Mao worshiper Hasan Piker gets along so well with El-Sayed. They both seem emotionally pretty unhinged. For example, after El-Sayed's opponent, Mike Rogers, appeared right here on this program, El-Sayed issued a very angry statement on X, all but begging Mike Rogers to hold him accountable in a physical way. Quote, "Since you're too afraid to debate me, how about you hold me accountable on a football field instead?" I didn't think he liked football. Anyway, and tackle, no pads like we used to play when we were kids. Anyway, I'd be happy to show you how much I love football. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from a guy who recently complained about toxic masculinity in football compared to the sport to slavery. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.